All right, hello everyone. This is gonna be an unscripted video. Also, sorry, sorry, I apologize. Oof. This is gonna be another quick, little rant video, and this is definitely more of a rant. And this is not any. This is not related to gaming. This is related to like, I guess, content creation. Like, not in the sense of like, oh, when you heard it, or just more of like, man, it's funny how when you start out as like a small creator, newer creator, whatnot, a lot of people seemingly, and I do hope that they're actual people, not bot accounts or whatnot. But a lot of people, at least in my experience, constantly trying to reach out and be like, "Hey, would you look to buy my services to help like promote your stuff and everything?" And it's like, no, I'm interested, right? Like, or I'm not interested, right? Like respectfully, I appreciate you reaching out or whatever, but I'm not. I personally not interested. But thank you for taking the time to reach out and and try to get that. And like I appreciate the side hustle, or I respect it, right? I get why people do it, right? But on the one hand, I look at it from the perspective of it's not too different than like door to door salespeople who come to your house and try to sell you something. Like that's how it feels, and it doesn't feel very good when you can effectively tell someone like no, or like make your desires known of like, hey, like I'm not interested in this. Like doesn't matter what the reasons are, right? Like, hey, appreciate it, not interested. Leave it at that. And just my experience with how it's gone with like people who are like that. When I've reached out, or when I've like responded back, and I say, yeah, like appreciate you reaching out, not interested, but thanks for taking the time to DM me or whatever. I always get, either I've been like what is effectively like interrogated about like, well, why are you not interested? Is it because you're not creative? Are you lacking funds? And or it's like I'm hit with a, okay, buddy, and it's like you're reaching out to me, right? And if I say I'm not interested, doesn't matter if I give a reason or not to like why I'm interested. Just take the no, right? Just take being told no at face value. Yeah, when it comes to sales, or like people who are trying to be like trying to sell you something, they want to try to sell you whatever it is they're selling, whether it be a product, a service, whatever. And I've said this before, not in a YouTube video, but I've said this on a Twitch stream of mine. I think like 2 weeks ago or some such. The VOD isn't up anymore, and I don't believe or no, it was in my Baldur's. It was in one of my Baldur's Gate streams, but and it's on my YouTube channel, so you could see a little bit of that rant, or a little bit of my initial thoughts about it. But it's like I don't like, respectfully, I don't care, right? Like being told like if someone comes up to me and says, "Man, like your content is of like good quality. It sounds good. The video quality generally looks pretty good, but like there's a disturbing lack of like professional looking artwork for your channel banner or your profile picture, and you could have so much more community outreach because of it." And it's like, "No, that's not how that works." Because like there's plenty of other people out there who have just a picture of them, right, for their profile picture, and like whatever else for their channel banner on Twitch or YouTube. And it's just like, you don't need professional looking images in order to cultivate a community, whatever that community may be, whatever your content may be about. You don't need that stuff, right? And the same thing goes with like YouTube videos. Sure, it does help to have really edited and really scripted and structured videos. Like obviously it helps with storytelling and what have you, but it's by no means necessary, right? There's not really like, yeah, there are guidebooks and guidelines you can follow to grow as a content creator. But just because one thing worked for a content creator like Markiplier or Mr. Beast, or Rhett and Link with Good Mythical Morning, just because something worked for those people, for those creators, doesn't mean it's going to work for you. It's all about finding like what it is you like to do, what you want to talk about, what kind of content you want to make, and just get that out there. Regardless of how edited and how well super thought out and structured it is. It all depends on, like, what are you looking to make as content, right? And then obviously, if people find it enjoyable or whatever have you, they're gonna come and watch it and maybe follow, or follow you on Twitch, or subscribe to you on YouTube or whatever, and all that. And granted, I'm not trying to come off as like, oh, I don't appreciate, I'm super ungrateful and I don't appreciate anyone taking the time to look at anything I post on Twitter when it comes to, like, hey, new video just dropped, blah 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 blah. But it's like, it's kind of exhausting in a weird way, right? When you get kind of jumped by people who their hustle is to basically sell whatever services that they provide to you, or like that they would be providing to you, and you can tell them no, right? Whatever reasons, and then they just keep harping on you about it. And at least for me, saying no goes from being I'm disinterested to I'm just starting to say it out of spite now, because you're starting to piss me off, right? You're starting to really ruffle my feathers about this because you're just not taking the L, right? And I also look at it from the perspective of, like, hey, I personally wouldn't want to hire someone or commission someone to do this marketing or whatever, because to me it feels inorganic, right? Like, if I have channel growth on YouTube or Twitch, and it's because I paid someone or I commissioned someone to help with getting my stuff out there on different, in front of more people, it feels, I wouldn't say wrong, but just like not earned, right? Like, okay, cool, I paid someone money to then get me, and then I gained 100 new followers within a couple days, but they don't even actually genuinely stick around to view my content, to like or to comment on my stuff. They're just there. It's just what effectively are empty suits there for the sake of padding out subscribers or padding out followers, but it's not helping with viewership. It's not helping with connecting with my, whatever audience you may have. And that's where my issues come down to it, right? Where it's like and there's also the whole thing for me where it's like, if you do grow, like, and become bigger because of this, and you're getting, you have some kind of revenue coming in from it, whether that's your main goal or intention or not, and you have like merch or you have a Patreon or whatever, and you basically, but like, regardless, you've gotten bigger, you're more successful, and all that. To me, the way I look at it is, it's like, well, then there is a likelihood that, like, hey, that person you commissioned, right? You paid them to help get your stuff out there. Well, they may come back and be like, oh, well, because you now have like 100,000 subscribers or whatever, and you're making blah 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 ad revenue and blah 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 merch sales or whatever, if you're selling merch, I feel owed whatever cut, or like, whatever royalties, because if it wasn't for my services, you wouldn't be in this position, right? And it's like, that feels so, that, like, to me, and granted, it's more of like a hypothetical, but I could definitely see it happening. That just feels super slimy and wrong. But with that, guys, that's gonna be the end of my rant. This is just a completely unscripted, just more of I looked at my Twitter, saw a bunch of the profiles that have followed my account now, with my most recent post, and a lot of them are, graphics, art design people, or YouTube, Spotify, or Twitch profile marketers. And it's like, hey, I appreciate people being interested in following my Twitter. I appreciate them reposting my tweets and whatever have you. To those people, if you happen to actually watch this video, which I doubt it, because no one ever seems to actually genuinely click on the links to the video, appreciate the attention. I'm not interested in the services you're providing and selling. Truly sorry about that, but it is what it is, you know. Um, but with that, I hope everyone has a great day, great time. By no means negative. I'm by no means trying to be negative about this. This is just more of a, hey, I saw something, kind of a thought popped in my head. I wanted to rant. I started feeling the rant mood, so might as well press record and get it out there on the interwebs. But hope you guys have a wonderful time wherever you may find yourselves, whether you're in the bowels of a hive city in Darktide, or playing tabletop 40k, or browsing YouTube or gaming, or snuggling with your dog who's being a little bit of a butthead in the past hour. But hope you guys have a good one. Stay chill out there, and until next time, peace.